just say welcome to everybody about a topic which is very specific. Earn money with MediaWiki. I can say earn money with any sort of open source software is of interest just for a few people. Mostly the people who are the CEOs of a company or the sales responsibles and others. But it's also interesting for just general to think how is it possible to earn money with an open source software, which is quite important that an open source software can provide it. And so if there are no jobs, if there people can't make the living, and it's really hard to push those projects forward and deliver updates, new upgrades, new features, new services. So that is one reason why we should have a look at this. But the initiative for this webinar came from the idea that we will start a new partner program in the next weeks. We have already the basics here. And I would just make an overview. What are the revenue sources? What is a partner program? But partner program will be just one small part of the whole thing. I think we need about 20 minutes where I just want to introduce you about some thoughts about commercial use of MediaWiki in general. And then we go through the sources of income, like selling services and hosting, software development, subscriptions. And then we will have some time for questions. So generally speaking, the commercial use of any open source software is always a bit suspicious. So that was also for us when we started this company 14 years ago. We were strong evangelists of open source software. We still are, but we have to learn a bit how we can find our way to support this project. MediaWiki is very special because MediaWiki is the software behind Wikipedia. And Wikipedia has a foundation in the background who has the trademarks and who is providing the servers and have about, I think, more than 200 people working on infrastructure, on software, and so on. MediaWiki is a result of that. So they publish MediaWiki in regularly, so that you can just take it. You can do what you want with it. It's under an open source license, and that means it is free and it will always be free. So, and what we do here at Hallo Welt or others is that we take the software and that we improve it or just adapt it to enterprise needs. And so we develop a lot of things and we give it back to the community and we publish everything that we are producing so that we are just a part of this ecosystem. So what we can do, or what everybody can do, is we can use it, but there is a restriction, of course, of the trademark. So we cannot say, okay, we are MediaWiki. So we are a MediaWiki distribution, or we are offering services for that. That I can do, but I cannot use, of course, the Wikipedia logo or the MediaWiki logo and that sort of stuff. So, and another thing is the Wikimedia Foundation does not support a commercial ecosystem. They are a non-profit organization, of course, but they do not oppose it either. That means that was not clear in the beginning. So in the beginning, many people, many companies or freelancers thought, okay, maybe I can have a living out of that. but so it wasn't really clear if the foundation would not, yeah, restrict that in the one or other way. But so it's in coexistence, and I think all the companies around and the Media Foundation found an agreement how they can work together. So we use the Wikimedia infrastructure, we deliver patches back and so on, and so I think that so everything can grow, and we have more focus on extensions, and they are focused on the basics of the MediaWiki. So what I want to say is that's always a question. What is returned to the community? And this is always in every open source project. Yeah, it's specific. But normally the commercial and the non-commercials find a good way to have a good balance so that the project doesn't go in the one or the other direction. So generally speaking, yes, you can use it, MediaWiki. You can use it for commercial things and offers, but there is no really a commercial infrastructure that helps you to start very easily. So what are the most people doing? They are selling services around that, but people, the companies are demanding help with installation. Means they have a server somewhere and they need to set up the software, maybe some extensions, and or that people come around and help them with updates or upgrading. So we have many old systems out there, and sometimes you have to upgrade from what have you done last week? I think it was an upgrade from a 1.17 to the latest edition now. It's 1.35. So many years in between. So, and people need help with that. And what they really appreciate if you can do this remote, so you work from your home office and or on site. There are some companies who have strict security regulations, and so you're not allowed to. You're not. It's not possible to go behind the firewalls, and you have really to travel to their location and do everything on site. Another thing that's quite important is migration of stuff, of content. So normally the easy things are, okay, I have a MediaWiki, an old MediaWiki, and I want to migrate the content in a new instance. Within MediaWiki, there is no problem, but it becomes harder interesting if you're moving the content from other services like Lotus Notes, for instance, or maybe from another wiki like Confluence, for instance, or other sources. Or their source is our Word files, Office files, and that means you have to work with scripts that prepares your data for the MediaWiki, so they can push it in the MediaWiki. This is also an interesting service. It could be very easy, or a project with many days which are necessary. So next thing, very common, is everything of configuration and integration. So very common is connection to the central authentication, like a connection to LDAP servers or an Active Directory, or within SAML protocol within other instances in the cloud, for instance. So that is always the manner. They sometimes very easy, sometimes a bit complicated. Templating, yes, people need templates, and we have a very specific, very interesting, a huge feature set with semantic MediaWiki, which opens you the possibility to work with forms, with metadata, structured data, and you can do so many things with that, so that when people need help for setting up templates or maintain templates. Then any sort of content structure help that people find their way and through the wiki and find the content. And okay, last but not least, okay, you have to set up sometimes a specific user group rights or implement a user rights structure in one wiki or in several wikis. Consultations and workshops, yeah. If you go deeper or have a larger project, normally it's about the implementation of use cases and processes. For instance, we want to have this wiki as a documentation about the data protection processes and responsibilities and the different roles within that. So then you help people to find a place where how the page structure is, where the roles are, where the processes are, who has access to that, who can edit this, who can read this only, and what is the structure of a simple page. So this is always very helpful, because you have to go through the company and they have normally very their own way how to do things, and need sometimes help to implement this in a wiki. So content structure, user guidance, what I already said, or they need help with technical development and integration. So more on really a consultation. What can we do? How can we do this? Can you help us with planning a new feature or an integration to another tool, like let's say any ticket system or something like that. Support and trainings are always very welcome, but normally it's not. There are not the services where what you are selling most of it. I'm just saying. So if you only say I want to offer support and trainings, that would be hard. This would be hard. So it's a bit all of that. And what I can say is it's always you need technical skills and technical experiences. That helps you always to find your customers. So, and how do you sell this? Normally on hourly rates, you can you have to calculate how much you are asking for, or you offer a service contract. So that you say to the customer, okay, I will regularly review your system, I will go through it, I will put new updates in, I will make an upgrade, and then help you with if the system is down to restart it, something like that. So I'm here for you within a certain time. One interesting point I want to stress at this moment is that you can, if you start to think about that, then maybe you make something like that. A spreadsheet where you just go through what do I have, what do I need, what is my hourly rate, what do I need, and we did it that way. So saying, okay, what's the average monthly wage, and then we go all through things and say, okay, how many working days do we have per year, per month? How many hours are there? And then, okay, how many weekend days do we have? How many holidays, vacations, illness, and so on. And if you go through that, then you come to an average price. So you can do this on your own side, of course. But what I want to say is there's what quite interesting when I did this the first time was that two numbers are changing a lot. And the one thing is how much is the billable working time. So if you work the whole day, but you can sell 60% of the day, it's completely different when you just make it 50%. This changes already a lot. This is an important thing. How effective is the time you spend? And the other thing is you have billable employees and non-billable employees. And how many, it depends how many you have in the back office. If you have many people in the back office, then your costs are increasing dramatically and your hourly rate is increasing. So non-billable employees and effective working time are crucial for you. And that makes a difference. And then this explains exactly where the difference is between a freelancer who is offering, we say, okay, I work for you per hour. He has only to take care that his insurances are paid, that the rents are paid, that vacations are paid, but you don't pay, of course, any sort of back office, and that will change a lot. So that's the reason why there is a difference between the hourly rates of a huge company and freelancers. So if you, maybe I can publish that sometime and you can play with that. It's really, really interesting how the figures are changing, the numbers are changing. Okay, that was a bit more about services, because I think this is really the most important revenue stream for most people. And we have a lot of hosters out there. One example is, for me, in Germany, the professional wiki guys, or many others. They offer, I host MediaWiki or semantic MediaWiki or BlueSpice for you. This is quite good way to earn money, but it's necessary. What it requires that you have spent a lot of time, of course, in security issues, in backups, in and more in providing compliance, to be compliant with certain regulations, like the European Union GDPR, the data protection regulation. And so companies rely on that. They asking for that and say, okay, do you have a certification? Are you compliant with this and that? Because they have to fulfill their requirements, the legal obligations. And so they come to you and say, okay, can you help me that my legal obligations are, that we are fine with that. So, and what we also see is there's an increasing demand for cloud hosting. Cloud, in that meaning that you don't have to think about how many gigabyte do I need or how many cores do I need. So they want to have an elastic response of elastic resources for the instances, so that it can grow, and they pay you mostly per user, and so you don't ask for the single cores and gigabits, but you just make a general price per user, and then this should should be enough done for you that you can live with it and can invest in new features. Hosting is quite similar to a revenue stream, which I want to present you a bit later. It's about subscriptions. Hosting is very, very common and used. Then we have a huge revenue stream, software development and projects. there is still a need in every country on this planet that somebody helps you with programming new features for MediaWiki, to update to existing features, or enhance existing features. Sometimes really huge projects where you need a lot of time for planning and a lot of time of implementation, and then after the project, then to maintain the existing features and extensions. Mostly very individual systems, which are hard to update because there are many dependencies, there are connections, there is many specific customized features, and that makes it really hard to update everything. Really, really important on this way is you need not only experience with organizing software projects. What you really, really must have a look at is about the acceptance procedures. But this is where the customers always comes to you. Okay, no. Okay, this is finished, but you have 2 open points, and as long as you don't have the 2 open points, we don't pay you. And this is really crazy, and this will really cause trouble. And so we spent a lot of time talking about acceptance procedures and put that into general terms and conditions to fix that for both parties. It's better for both parties to know exactly what they are planning, what was the plan, what do you have to deliver, and how will the acceptance process work. So I would say one of the most important things. So if you have programs, made some new fine extensions, and you can try to resell that. We have actually the problem that we don't have a real extension store for MediaWiki, but we are preparing that on the BlueSpice site. So if you have some ideas, or you have some extensions you want to sell or resell, just contact us. Maybe we find a way. So now we come to subscriptions. That became very common in the last, I would say, 5 to 7 years. So what you do is, okay, I give you a software distribution. This is a certain set of features of extensions which are standardized, which is where we guarantee the operability, so that everything is working together and it's running. And we offer support and services for that, so that you have a problem with that. There's somebody, you can call us, you can send an emails within a certain time frame. And yes, and you get the documentation for that, so that you can use the software and learn how it works. So that is our included services of a subscription. And so it's a bit like a service contract, isn't it? It's a mixture of providing technical services and classics support. The most important thing for the whole open source world was a legal invention by Red Hat, the Linux distributors for Red Hat, because they decided that they are not selling a product, but they are selling services. It looks like a product. Yeah, you get something like a product, but legally it's a service. That means it changed the liability. You have completely different liability if you're selling a product or if you're just providing services. And it also changes the way what sort of software they get. They don't get a completely ready product, but instead they get continuous and very quickly new software improvements, new patches, new features, many features, and this is a real value. But it changes what your software is. It's not ready made, and you have to wait 5 years until the next major release will be released. But you get continuous developments at the door of your company. So, and that includes that for the user, for the customer, it's more important to have really service and response time, somebody who you can ask and you can reach out for. And this is the value what you're selling with that. And they have found out that how can we sell something like licenses? And that's because you have an open source software, so you can use it openly. You can copy that, or you can change it, of course. And they should just say, okay, get all our services. You can call us every day and get your continuous delivery of features, but only if you don't start to redistribute our distribution. So if you're starting to sell our thing, then we stop everything and we don't collaborate with you. And the next thing is that they say, okay, if you have, the pricing depends on how many instances you have. So that's quite an interesting thing. It's a bit classical. It's a bit away from open source, but it still has it's open source as a basic concept. And what you get is service, and as long as both parties agree that it's useful to work together. So it's also for the customers, it's a bargain, because if they are not happy with the service, then they just quit the subscription, and they can use the software further. So and around those products, you can, of course, not only selling your extensions, you can sell templates, especially semantic templates, and dynamic, which you provide your people with, your customers with dynamic pages, and extensions connectors. This is an interesting thing which I would love to see in the MediaWiki world in the future. But to build connectors is, yeah, it's a challenge. The challenge is that you have two software applications, like let's say, okay, you have an EasyRed on the one hand and the MediaWiki on the other hand. And now both applications are now developing further, and so both parts should always be fit together. And but then you have customers who have maybe an old version, but your connector should also work with the latest version of MediaWiki and an older version of EasyRed, for instance. So that makes it complicated to provide people with connectors, and you have to make the decision that you only support specific versions and editions. But I think that there is still a place and a market for that. So let's come to the last thing, to the way how many software companies are earning their money. They are often part of a partner program. So most software manufacturers have a partner program, and it's always the same thing. It's a way where they say, you are a partner and you can resell our subscriptions. You buy a subscription and you resell it, and you get a discount. That is what happened in the last years, that most partner programs now offer a discount, and you have free to resell everything, and you just give your customers the end user license agreement, and on top of this, you add your own services and your own service contracts. Where you say, okay, I'm the local content, you get contact, you get support, you get within a certain time, you get professional services, and we help you with installation, migration, with everything what we talked about, selling services. And what you have to do is you have to organize your annual sales so that the people always buy renewals of the subscriptions. And if you do that, then you're getting continuous revenues, and you have a continuously contact with your customers, which changes a lot. It's a completely different approach than to give people only to sell per hour services and support, or if you are only providing projects. So all what we have talked about those revenue streams, you can find your own combination of that. You can combine it how it likes and how it fits to you and to your customers. But this is an additional thing. So where you can generate an income, and you can resell that. And normally you don't only resell one single software, mostly there are one or two more, and so you have a portfolio of different applications, and people are then coming to you, and you're the first contact and not the manufacturer. So this is what we really want to set up now in next years, would I say, to find people who would do this in different countries, because we have many requests from other countries, but they need somebody in their country because they want to talk in their language. The French people want to have somebody in France, and the people from the United States want American guys and girls, but all for good reasons, because you are in a different legal system. United States legal system is different from the European Union, and or even the French legal system is different from the Germans and from the German one, and so they want to have as many problems as possible, and to have a local partner it's a really high value for them, and that's the reason why they then call you in the future. There is also a big challenge for us, that we enable the people to provide people with that services. So you have to know how to install something like that, or you have to know a bit more about the product and the backgrounds, and the future, the coming developments, or even how the subscription contract works, or about some details. And so we have now set up of course, an internal wiki, an internal training wiki, where our partners get access to, and where they can teach themselves at least, and then we can, if there are more open questions, and there will always be more open questions, then we can provide them or you with that. So enablement is one of the challenges of a partner program, but I think that both parties have a benefit. Okay, that was my overview about what can be done, and I think now we have some time for questions, and I will stop the recording now so that we don't publish that. And I'm looking forward for some questions and remarks and critiques.